Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So it's tier list, which means it's time for our weekly Tuesday. And today we are going to be tier listing every single general manager and head coach in the NHL. This was suggested over on Instagram. Feel free to go submit your suggestions for future tier lists and beyond hockey by Kareem Osman. He said that he wanted to see head coaches and general managers. And it makes perfect sense considering we just did forward cores, defense cores, goalie tandems. Now let's do the guys that run the teams on the ice and off the ice. If you're asking why I look a little bit weird, my camera decided to kind of crap out last night, and as a result, I'm on a webcam right now. We're going to get that fixed. I ordered all the new materials to do that, but it's Tier List Tuesday. I'm just in this little bottom right, so it's not the biggest deal. I don't have to look $1,000,000 for this. What is more important is this tier list right now. And yeah, we got great, good, solid, meh, bad. Pretty straightforward. Let's get into it. Let's start with the easiest one by a country mile. The Florida Panthers, back-to-back Stanley Cup winning champions. I think Bill Zito at this point, considering what he did, what he has done in Florida since he got there in 2020, is without a shadow of a doubt the best general manager in the NHL. Verhaeghe right off the rip, getting Sam Reinhart, getting Brandon Montour. It is just insane, the team that he has built. They had solid pieces in Barkov, in Ekblad when he got there, but he completely transformed this team into one of the best teams of all time, and might be winning a third Stanley Cup relatively soon. And Paul Maurice is a damn good, no doubt, top 3 coach, arguably the best coach in the NHL. He just suffocates teams. The Columbus Blue Jackets, I think I'm going to go with solid. I like Dean Evison a lot. I really liked him when he was in Minnesota. Don Waddell has been a little bit concerning. He killed it his first offseason in terms of getting Sean Monahan on that cheap deal. This offseason has really been a mixed bag, in my opinion. The Provorov extension, trading for Charlie Coyle. I do like the draft that he had, getting Jackson Smith. But I think I'm just going to go with solid right now. Waddell might have been an Eric Tulsky merchant, which we'll talk about soon. The Anaheim Ducks, I think I'm also going to put them here. I think Quenneville is going to be a very good head coach. But Verbeek has also been pretty puzzling, especially within the last 8 months or so with the Jacob Trouba trade, the Chris Kreider trade, not weaponizing his salary cap space as well, bringing in Granlund. There's been some head-scratching draft decisions like Beckett Seneca, although that looks better now. Still probably not worth the 3rd overall pick. I think he's probably a meh general manager, in my opinion. The Boston Bruins, I'm going to go with meh. I like the Marco Sturm hiring. It is a first-time head coach, so I can't say that he's going to absolutely kill it. Don Sweeney, though, the last 13 months has been absolute booty cheek supreme. So I think they're definitely fair to throw in the meh. I could definitely hear you also having them in just straight up bad. Carolina, I think I'm going to go with great. Rod Brindamore inherited that team and immediately turned them into one of the best regular season teams over the last, maybe the best regular season team in the last 6 seasons. Yes, they haven't made a Stanley Cup final, but outside of teams that have won the Stanley Cup, they've probably had the most playoff success in terms of making Eastern Conference finals. And Tulsky has been cooking when looking at it. Took a swing on Rantanen, didn't work out, got Stankoven, got 2 first-round picks this offseason. I love the Stankoven extension. Jackson Blake, I like a decent amount. Miller's a swing. I think it'll be pretty solid. But yeah, needs to get a second line center, but I've liked what Eric Tulsky has done. Got Nikolai Ehlers in terms of potentially last year that was kind of like a retooling year by their standards, and they still made the Eastern Conference Finals. And Tulsky is loading up right now and still has like $10 million of salary cap space. Buffalo's bad. Buffalo is really bad. Kevin Adams, go watch the rebuild review. There was a lot to nitpick with him. And I was not that big on the Lindy Ruff hiring. I thought that was like a nostalgia hiring. Yes, he had success in New Jersey, but I think that was maybe more so to do with another head coach we might talk about. So yeah, they have arguably the worst 1-2 punch right now in the NHL, I'd probably say. The Dallas Stars, Jim Nill, top 5 general manager in the NHL, needs to figure out the right side of his defense, but basically everything outside of that has been damn good. And Golitsyn, maybe he could, in his second stint, have some success when looking at it. Of course, the former head coach of the Dallas Stars, been in Edmonton for the last 7 years. Again, second time head coach, but it's been a while since he's coached, so I'm just putting him in like solid meh. And then Nill's definitely a great general manager. The Detroit Red Wings, Heisman's like meh to solid. McClellan is like solid, maybe good. So I think they just landed in solid. It doesn't really move me that much, but it's not bad by any stretch. I think Chicago kind of falls in the same range. Kyle Davidson inherited had to nuclear rebuild it in Chicago. They have Blashill now, who in Detroit just didn't even stand a chance. He was there when they were nuclear rebuilding it. So I don't think you can criticize him too much for the job that he did there. Yeah, actually, I might just move him down to meh just because of Blashill, but I think Davidson's pretty solid. St. Louis, I think you can put him in great. When looking at Armstrong, of course, has won a Stanley Cup and what he's done in the last 12 to 24 months in terms of turning this team to a team that you thought after Tarasenko and Ryan O'Reilly were going to have to kind of go through, and Pietrangelo, a sizable rebuild. He has really reinvigorated this young core with those offer sheets, with good drafting like Snuggerud and Dvorsky, to now where they're going to probably be a competitive team for the next 6 to 7 years. And then Jim Montgomery came in, and I think they were like 105-point pace on team under Jim Montgomery. Of course, had a lot of success in Boston. So yeah, I think it's great. It's not as good as Florida or Carolina. People say I hate the St. Louis Blues, but I'm respecting them here, I guess. Los Angeles Kings, Ken Holland is so bad, and Jim Hiller like almost single-handedly cost them against the Edmonton Oilers with some of his decisions. Hiller's more so of a mad to solid coach, but yeah, Holland really drags them down and puts them in that bad tier. Chris Drury's kind of floundering right now, but I like his Gavrikov move this summer and getting Malcolm Spence, but overall his tenure, especially the last 15 to 18 months, not been very good. But Sullivan, I think, still is a good coach, so I'll put him in solid. The Leafs, I'm going to put him in good. Treliving, I did not like his tenure in Calgary that much, but it seems like he's kind of learned maybe from some of his mistakes in Toronto, has made some good value signings like Chris Tanev, like OEL, like Stolars, had the balls to let Mitch Marner walk, or I don't know, but I don't know if Mitch Marner was going to walk regardless, but didn't overpay massively to keep Mitch Marner and was able to get some decent depth moves in terms of replacing him. And then Craig Berube, obviously Stanley Cup winning coach with the St. Louis Blues, was pretty damn good in his first year. With Toronto, the Seattle Kraken, I'm going to go with bad. Lane Lambert does not move the needle much, especially for me who watched him as my head coach for a year and a half. And Jason Botterill was the former general manager of the Buffalo Sabres from 2017 to 2020. Wasn't a lot of success there. And even if you count Ron Francis as the team president, basically acting as general manager, he has not been good in Seattle the last couple of years. Tampa Bay, I'm still going with great. John Cooper is still a top 3 head coach in the NHL. Julien Brisebois, I still really like some of his moves. His moves last offseason kind of revitalized the team in terms of letting Stamkos walk and trading Sergachev, although that doesn't look fantastic, really allowed this team to free up some salary cap space and be competitive yet again. I know that they lost in 5 games to Florida, but they're still a decent contender in the NHL heading into next year. San Jose, I like what Mike Rear is doing a lot. Again, they've sucked for the last couple of years. You can always look good in a rebuild, but I do like what he's building. And Ryan Worofsky, solid developmental coach as of right now. I'm just going to put him in solid because, again, they've been the worst team in the NHL the last 2 years. You can't glaze them too much, although I really like what San Jose is building right now. Nashville, I want to put him in mid just because I think Andrew Burnett's a really good head coach. Speaking to Lindy Ruff, I think he was the reason why the New Jersey Devils were so good in that 2023 season after what he did also in 2022 with the Florida Panthers. I'm still very high on him. The underlying numbers showed that they were just a very unlucky team last year. Barry Trotz's a bad general manager at this point, but I think Burnett is a solid to good head coach. And if he gets fired, someone should probably scoop him, and where he actually has a fighting chance with a half-decent roster. So I'm going to put him in meh as of right now. New Jersey, I like Sheldon Keefe, Tom Fitzgerald. Overall, his tenure has been good, but right now he has not exactly been cooking the last 12 to 18 months. So I think I'm going to put him in solid. Maybe good. Nah, Sheldon Keefe doesn't have the playoff track record to justify putting them in good. When looking at the Vegas Golden Knights, I'm going to put him in great. Cassidy has been one of the best head coaches in the last decade. Kelly McCrimmon has been very forward-thinking and aggressive with his moves and has paid off with a lot of success the last 5 years for the Vegas Golden Knights. The Oilers, I'm going to go with good. Bowman needs to step up and get a goddamn goaltender, but Chris Knobloch has established himself. Yes, he does have amazing players to coach, but as a very good head coach in the NHL, and Bowman started off really rough with those offer sheets not matching at least one of them, but had a good deadline in terms of acquiring Jake Wallman. Vancouver Canucks, I'm going to put him in meh. Not the biggest Foot fan in terms of the head coach. It's not bad by any means, but Alvin has definitely had a rough last 12 months, so I think meh is fair for them. Winnipeg, Cheveldayoff has like the hardest job in the NHL and has really excelled at it. Granted, I was pissed that he didn't go for it more at last year's deadline. Only got Tanev, only got Shen. What are you doing? You're Winnipeg. You got to be aggressive when you have a shot. So that kind of cooled me off on Cheveldayoff a little bit. Arniel, his first year was very good. President's Trophy, second round of the playoffs. You could argue great. Just again, this team has not made conference finals since 2016. When looking at the Washington Capitals, actually, that's a little bit hypocritical, I guess, because I'm putting Washington in here just because they have been so good the last 13 months or so in terms of the front office, in terms of Spencer Carberry, second best in the NHL. I'm going to move Winnipeg up as well. I feel like that's hypocritical. I just realized it. But yeah, Spencer Carberry is top 5 coach in the NHL. Patrick, I know a lot of it was McClellan last year, kind of his final year as general manager, but still, I trust Patrick as the general manager. For the Colorado Avalanche, I'm still not the biggest Chris McFarland guy. He did a lot this season. It resulted in a first-round exit. Yes, he finally maybe did get a second-line center in Brock Nelson, but his tenure has been very underwhelming in terms of 2023. Bednar's still a very good head coach, but I think solid is fair. I'm very high on Steve Stamkos, and Green in his first season was very good for the Ottawa Senators, so I'm going to put him in good. I think they have a good, after so many years of having such a bad head coach and general manager duo with DJ Smith and Pierre Dorian, they're finally competent in that regard. Philadelphia, I'm going to go solid. Tocchet just got the job. I'm not as high on Tocchet as others, but I think he's a solid to good head coach. Briere, they're still rebuilding, but I like a decent amount of what he's done. You could argue maybe even good for them. Montreal, I'm going to put in good. Kent Hughes has absolutely killed it. Martin St. Louis got him to the playoffs this year. But the defensive system needs to improve a decent amount. Just hasn't quite had the same track record as these teams in the top in terms of multiple years of success. So I think I'm going to put them in good right now. But if they make the playoffs safely next year and their defensive numbers improve from Martin St. Louis, they're going to definitely jump up to great. Maybe I should put them in great. No, I'm going to keep them in good right now. People are going to say it's because of Dobson, but fuck off. Calgary, I'm going to go with solid. Conroy, I like a decent amount. Huska exceeded expectations, not the most fun brand, exciting brand of hockey, and a lot of that was because of Dustin Wolf, but I think solid is fair for them. The Utah Mammoth, I'm not the biggest Andre Tourny guy. Bill Armstrong has done a really good job with the Utah Mammoth, though. Yeah, big make or break year for Andre Tourny, in my opinion. Pittsburgh, Dan Muse is a rookie head coach. Kyle Dubas has not really impressed me that much early on in his tenure in Pittsburgh, and it's not like his Toronto run was that much of a success, so I think solid is fair. Minnesota, I'm still decently high on Bill Guerin, although he did have some head-scratching decisions, like the Yakov Trenin signing, like the Gustav Nyquist acquisition. He's got this team to being probably a safe playoff team for the foreseeable future. I'm not the biggest John Hines guy, but he's done solid in Minnesota, so I think they get a good. My New York Islanders, I'm not going to glaze them or anything, just in solid. I think Darsh has done a really good job, and if he has another good season, good off season, maybe they move up to good. Patrick Waugh with the New York Islanders has not really proven himself as a good to great head coach, so I think solid is fair, and that's our tier list. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about this?